Hello everybody. Today we'll be starting with the fifth chapter, that is migrating to the cloud. In this chapter we are going to see about what are the different services which are offered for individuals, what are the services offered at mid-market, and what are the services offered for enterprises, and finally we are going to talk about the actual migration, how it takes place into the organization. So moving to the cloud is a big and a unique thing which will happen for your organization, for your business, and it's a tedious task as well, because you need to talk to your network administrators. You may need to install some of the latest softwares, or you may need to uninstall some of the things which are already running locally, right? So it's difficult call to migrate your application or to migrate your business onto the cloud. And of course it's not a one step process. Step by step, slowly and steadily, you are going to migrate your application from local to cloud based. All right, so step by step we'll see that. So before going there, we'll see some of the cloud services which are offered for individuals. Now by individual I mean somebody who is working alone, or say for small businesses, let's say 10 or 20 people have come together and they're working on a certain project. For them, which are the cloud services which are available, and most of the services listed are free of cost. Maybe you might have thought about the Google Photos, which I think most of you are using it on your mobile, how they get stored onto the cloud and how you can access them on the globe. That's one of the example. One example what we have taken here in the available services of Gmail. I think most of you are aware of the Gmail service, which is free online web application tool, right? You can check your mails, you can upload certain documents over there, you can have contacts, you can actually have a chatting facilities also, which is provided with Gmail. All those things are provided by Gmail, and you can use it on laptop, computers, desktop, any devices. It's not like it's restricted to certain devices, it's available across devices. So that's addition of Gmail. I think you are aware of that. So such kind of services we are going to discuss, right? Popular services, of course. First popular service noted over here is Apple Mobile Me. Again, it's a tool for emails, photos, contacts. If you want to share the contacts among multiple devices, maybe you can make use of Apple Mobile Me, available on www.me.com. Basically for Apple mobiles or iPhones, I should say them, as this particular service is useful. The second application is Google Docs, or docs.google.com, where it is available. What it does is it provides you a collaborative application wherein you can have your Word documents, you can have your spreadsheet, maybe you can have your presentations also. Some of the PPTs are also, you can save them onto the cloud. So Google Docs is one more useful application. Third application is of Adobe Acrobat. uh, I think most of you might have downloaded Adobe Acrobat and you're using it offline, but it is also available free of cost, and online PDF reader. It also has those online PDF converters, wherein you can convert your document from doc or docx to PDF, or PPTX to PDF, and vice versa. This conversion is also available for you in Adobe Acrobat. The fourth application is juice.com, JOOC, that's how it is spelled. uh, it's a flash based desktop environment, basically used in the internet cafes. Maybe if you want to upload something on that, you have to just drag and drop it into this juice, and it will take care of that, right? Okay. Fifth application is called as Evernote. Again, to save some of the photos, screenshot files onto the cloud, you can make use of that. It's always in sync with the clouds. That's best thing about Evernote. A sixth application is called as a Microsoft Live Service. Basically is used to search whatever data you are going to store onto the cloud. If you want to search something, if you have kept a lot of data, you need searching. For that, Microsoft Live Service search you can make use of. www.live.com is the URL for that. Best application which I have seen till now is the Twitter phone. It's a speech recognition tool, I would call it as. And say whatever you say, let's say you say good morning, today is 7th of April. What it will do is it will convert your voice message into a tweet, and it will, you can post it on Twitter social networking site. So Twitter phone is available for that. I will recommend you use this It's very handy. If somebody is having Twitter account, they can use this Twitter phone. It's spelled as Phone, not Phone. That's one thing to be noted. Eighth application or service available is again of Adobe, called as Photoshop Express. It's an online editor, powerful editor, but I will recommend that you go for a desktop version of that, because Photoshop is quite a heavy application, and it will take a lot of network out of you. So better to go for offline, but this service is available for you all. Ninth service is Picnic. Again, it's a photo editing tool. You can add some text, you can add shapes, frames to your photos. I think you are well aware of how to add photos, text. You are all doing it for one or the other birthday or any other event. The last is G.Ho.st, also called as Ghost. Now it's a global hosted operating system. We are talking about the virtualized operating system, something like that it is, which offers 5 GB of free storage, which includes 3 GB of email, web and office applications inside that. So total 5 GB of memory space is made available to you all onto the cloud by making use of this Ghost. Okay, so all these were some of the available services for individual. 10 I have listed, maybe 3 to 4 might be asked in the examination, you need to remember them. All right. The second type of application which is available, which is not service, is called as a SkyTab solution. And in SkyTab solution, they are actually giving you a virtual lab. Now, everybody has seen the labs which are available in our college. Let's take that new lab which we have come up with for Python, Android, and also now for your web programming. And I think you are all aware of HTML and CSS. Maybe you have forgotten how to make use of database. Now let's say you create an application wherein you are going to develop the front end of the application by making of HTML, CSS in that particular new lab, and then you call someone from the say fourth semester to come over there and help you out with the database part of it, and maybe call one more from second semester. Let's say you have some processing and you require some help with algorithms of say searching, sorting, so you call them as well. Now since the second and fourth semester students have access to your lab, they can pitch in, they can help you out. Now the same idea has been implemented over here in SkyTab virtual lab, wherein you as an individual or you as an organization are working. Let's say you are into development, and if you want to outsource your work, say testing, or let's say system integration, all those part, if you want to outsource it in a virtual lab, what happens is you are actually working under one roof, so it's easy for you to outsource your job to someone else. That's the whole idea behind this SkyTab virtual lab. Basically the solution they came up with to scale up the lab infrastructure to meet development deadlines. So if you're working on some products which is to be launched pretty early, late in the month of June, so for that you need to work collaboratively. Of course you have the capabilities to do both development, testing, integration, and then go live with that. But with the shortage of time, what you do is you outsource some of your work, and this outsourcing can be perfectly done by making use of SkyTab virtual lab. So basically they came up with virtual lab in order to meet deadlines, so that your application A is available globally. Okay, fine. So this is what is all mentioned over there. Maybe some of the services they have mentioned, like server, software, networking, any kind of example you can set in there, which is of course that SkyTab virtual lab is a solution which is available on demand over the web. So basically with an internet connection you are good to go to use the SkyTab virtual lab. Now some of the features which are available to the customers of SkyTab lab are virtual infrastructure on demand. You can easily scale up if you want to increase your hardware, software, storage capacity from any location or any browser. For that matter, you can actually ask for that. You have to pay more and you'll get more, right? Second is automated setup and tear down of environment. Now tear down of environment is nothing but duplication of multi machines. Like if there are say 5 machines, and if you want to think that there are 50 machines, you can duplicate them by making use of virtualization, which is available under SkyTab solution. Third is SkyTab library. Now in that library it includes major operating system, copies of those operating system databases in multiple languages. It may be available to you all. Again, it's on demand service. You have to pay for that. right? The last one is collaborating in the virtual environment. If there are say certain every software is not picture perfect when it's developed. It will be having certain issues, it will be having certain defects. So what they do is in a collaborative virtual environment, they will give that particular software, and it's called as alpha release. They will ask certain people to test it, right? Let's say it's distributed to some of them, and the global team members, what they will do is they will diagnose it for certain software bugs, issues, they will report it, and again the chain continues. Again you go for development, again you test it, and then finally you release it. Now this is about the SkyType lab. Uh, Also they have made use of something called as SkyType migration APIs. Now why as APIs required in a SkyType virtual lab is, now everything whatever is available on SkyType, your business may not be dependent only on that. It might be making use of something else which is also available on the cloud. So if you want to talk to some other applications which are not available inside SkyType, you require some medium, right? It's like a room has a door. The door is not actually to come inside the road, but to actually go outside of the door also to access other rooms. Similarly, this SkyType has something called as a migration API, wherein you can talk to other application. And while you talk to other application, you create something called as a hybrid IT model. About hybrid models, I think I have referred in chapter 3rd or 4th. I don't remember exactly, but over there, right? Not one single application will have all the necessary features which you are looking for as an organization. So of course you need to work with multiple applications, and when you work with multiple applications you require APIs to talk to one another, right? So this SkyType environment also provides you with certain public and static IP addresses for seamless transition amongst application, right? It also has something called as existing virtual machines which actually help you to run your SkyType virtual labs. Okay, one more thing what it allows you to do is by making use of those virtual libraries, it gives you certain operating systems, databases, application softwares or system softwares, whatever is your need. Now SkyType solution also supports Microsoft Hyper-V and several other operating systems such as Linux and Solaris. So all in all, it's a good thing if you are making use of SkyType virtual solution. Okay, all right. So this ends your cloud services for individual. In the next class, we'll see what are the cloud services for mid market. Thank you.